Hi Aquarius, welcome to your mid-August 2022 General Tarot Update. It's Raina here. I almost said July because, oh my gosh, I just got this card for Capricorn, and I wouldn't be surprised now that we're in August, we're going to have a full moon in your sign, so that makes, in this time frame, so that's perfect. Perfect. I'm going to pick an additional card due to the nature of this card. All right. Ooh, look at that. I don't get this card very much with this deck. I mean, I don't draw it very often for whatever reason. And I like the colors of it. The heart of the matter is the death card. In this deck, they also say rebirth, which actually with the judgment card, it could be rebirth too. So that can get a little confusing. But anyway, the point is not to freak people out and say, oh, death, the ultimate ending. All deaths are rebirths. The sideways 8, the infinity symbol in the middle. So this card is associated with Scorpio. If you have a Scorpio person in your life, maybe that's first and foremost on your mind. But definitely that full moon. This is for the midpoint in August, the full moon, August 11th or August 12th, depending on where you live. And so this may be something where you are feeling that there's a chapter closing in your life in some way. And if that's the case, you can either fight against it or you can embrace it and say, wow, this is for my highest good. But how many people do that? A lot of people freak out when there's an ending, especially a fixed sign like Aquarius, because you get used to stuff. And then when it's not there anymore, you're like, somebody moved my food dish. I don't like this. So it's really something that these transits, when we look at some of these things that happen, if you don't even want to talk about astrology, just in life, events that happen in your life can be beyond your control. So you can either choose to get upset about it, or you can be conscious about your resistance to the change and vow that you're going to flow with it, even if it's very difficult. Because believe me, I have been feeling this myself, and I think a lot of us have in our own way, different areas of life changing, massive changes. And it's not that easy. And death of people that perhaps, if you've had, a significant death, it's not something that you just, say, oh, well, next. It's something that you process. It's a very big change. In the past position, the King of Swords. So this is, I always associate this with Aquarius. The king is the ultimate expression of swords, which is that mental realm. So you could talk about the intellect and being a very fine intellect, but you can also talk about the emotional remoteness. I think somebody once wrote to me when I was talking about Aquarius, and they go, I'm very emotional. Now, of course, you can have a moon in a water sign. You can have inner planets in Pisces, and you are going to be more emotional for sure. But I'm talking about an archetype. I'm not talking about every permutation of Aquarius. So as an archetype, this is a very kind of emotionally, it's not even, the word that came into my mind is emotionally guarded, and I really am rejecting this. If this is my intuitive side coming off, I'm saying, no, you're off on that, because that's not what I mean. Not emotionally guarded, but emotionally out of touch. There's a big difference. And maybe lately that hasn't worked for you anymore, and you've become more emotional. things, shit has gotten real. So you've had to, kind of deal with the fact that you are not a robot, that you actually have emotions, and it might be kind of unsettling. Okay. The higher message is the Two of Wands, and this is a card. It's interesting that they have the globe in this because I've seen another deck that had that. It really can be about whether or not you want to relocate. So if you're having a major change in your life, this may involve where you should live, and you might be actually thinking about it. But, life isn't that clear cut. Sometimes you're torn. And actually, this is the higher message, so I'm not really supposed to be reading this literally. So I would say maybe it's time to consider a change in that area of being able to live someplace else. Maybe that has been something that has been presented to you and you kind of rejected it out of hand, and now you realize, hey, maybe this is what I need. Not geographical, a geographical fix, I don't know if that's what they call it, where you just move and think that it's just going to magically make your life better, but something that is much more stimulating for you. This can even be, I would say, like, perhaps there are two directions that you can go in terms of a relationship even. If you are with a Scorpio and there has been an air sign that came into your life, you may find that air sign, that you're much more compatible with that type of person. So just keep that in mind. What crosses you is the Temperance card. Are you being too extreme, Aquarius? Are you being too much in the world or too much in the woo-woo side of life? Oh, this one has kind of a globe too, which I have, or I don't know, sun and moon. I guess that's kind of the sun is more to me of the world and the moon, the spiritual. And we have to integrate these things in life and not pick one over the other. So again, with career matters, anything that we're dealing with, if you're just looking at it from the standpoint of making money or having a, visible success, the Death card could be you can't do it any longer, that it's no longer, maybe you're going through a spiritual upgrade and what used to be of meaningful to you is no longer meaningful. Because I have the Moon card, and that's really associated with creative pursuits, spiritual pursuits. Oh, for sure. What's coming in is the Knight of Cups. This is a card of an offer of love, maybe. So if there's something on the romantic side that really touches your soul, maybe that this Scorpio person is a new person, and you were with somebody that didn't express themselves. There may be someone coming to you who stokes that artistic side. I always say that the Knight of Cups can be the singer, I call it the James Taylor card, the singer-songwriter. And that might be somebody that has kind of captured your heart. Water sign, there's that Scorpio. Could be Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces. But it's a much gentler, gentler than the King of Swords, which is much more in the mind. But just any kind of, even like a job offer, if you have lost your job and you get another offer, it might be something more creative or more spiritual, like a healing type of arts career, which Aquarius people would be really good at. A lot of you are very intuitive. The outcome is the Three of Swords. This is a card you can see, the heart and all of that feeling of rejection. Now, we have the Death card and we have the Three of Swords. One of the things that happens at the time of this full moon in your sign is that the seventh house is activated through the sign, your opposite sign of Leo. So that's where the sun is at that time. So it's very possible that some of you are seeing the death of a committed partnership. And there are other things around you that suggest that there is something good that will come out of this. So whether I would say too, that the Knight of Cups, if you look at it philosophically, can be that you are making space for new love to come into your life. But there might be a specific person that, you kind of felt an attraction to on an emotional level, but because you were involved with somebody else, you didn't dare to even pursue that. And now you can. But the Three of Swords can be that feeling of heartbreak, rejection that remains, or that maybe like when the shock wears off of something, that you start to feel those feelings. So it's all in the feels in August for you. And that is to be embraced, not to run away from. So I picked an additional card, not really getting away from the emotional theme because I got the moon card, which is about emotions. But it's funny, there's that moon again, now that I think about it. Your full moon, like what is that all about? Another thing too, I didn't really think about this until now, but just thinking astrologically, towards the end of August, there is going to be a new moon in Virgo. And for you, Virgo is your 8th house, which is a water house. It's Scorpio's house, and that's that central card. The death card is connected to Scorpio. So a new moon in the 8th house is like the phoenix rising from the ashes. And it's coming because maybe you are able to see that your life wasn't how it should have been. Sometimes it takes major events to shake us out of that complacency so that we can have that rebirth. Oh yeah, and then the death card does say rebirth, so it is that's why Scorpio rules the 8th house, and so this moon card, talking about the astrological thing of the new moon in that 8th house, it's that transformation. That's what the 8th house specializes in. And you have Saturn in your sign, transing your sign Aquarius. So even though Saturn is one of your rulers, it doesn't mean that it makes everything just perfectly easy, because there may have been some things that have felt kind of restrictive. Maybe your creativity. The sun is in conjunction with Saturn. It can feel like it's very hard to be creative. It's very hard to feel the kind of feelings that the Wands energy is about, which is kind of joy and excitement, because there's like a serious vibe to it. But this too shall pass. In March, you'll have Saturn go into Pisces, and it will be out of your, away from your sun, and also, well, maybe I shouldn't talk about that, because I was saying, and then you're gonna have Pluto coming into your sign. That'll be fun. But anyway, I hope that this. Another thing about the moon card too is, I feel like there may be things that have to be brought out in the open. Maybe you're being given half-truths by somebody. And it's crazy making. Because really with the Three of Swords, like let's say you had a breakup, or even you could say, let's say you got fired and the blame was put on you. Well, it was because you did this. It was because you didn't do that. And then you find out something completely different. Like in terms of your private life, you find out that, your partner is blaming you for the split, and you find out that they've been having an affair. That kind of thing. By the way, I see my PayPal card was in frame the whole time. Okay, well, that's what I have for you, Aquarius. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.